Hi friends, it's Valerie. Welcome back to this week's What's for Dinner. If you are new here, I would love if you would hit that subscribe button and join my YouTube family. Today I've got 3 inspirational meals for you again, and I hope that you like them as much as we did. 2 of them are our new favorites. One is like an Italian chicken bake. It's really delicious. I was surprised by how much flavor this had. It was so good. And then the other is a fried chicken Alfredo quesadilla, also very good. Something different, quick and super quick and easy. Especially if you don't make homemade Alfredo sauce the way I did, it'd be even quicker. And then, what else? I just got back from vacation, so that is why I missed last week's What's for Dinner. I did leave a community post for you guys. I hope that you saw that, and explaining that I was leaving on vacation and ran out of time, so sorry about that one. But I had fun. It was a good time at the Kern River. I'm just very burnt at the moment. Super sunburnt on my forehead. If you can see in this video, it's not the best quality. It's on my webcam. But I'm super peely all over in different colors and splotchy. And my forehead, or my scalp, is super burned. I can barely brush my hair at this point. It hurts so bad to brush my hair or even wear this shirt right now for you guys. But I wanted to jump on here and just say hi. And my cats are over here trying to say hi to you as well. If you have any tips, go ahead and leave them down below for how to get rid of the sting and a sunburn. And other than that, let's just get to these dinners. The first meal we're going to be having is some enchiladas, and I'm going to be focusing on the side for this, which is some tomato and black bean rice. So I got some whole chickens for really cheap, just a couple dollars each. I decided to cook one up in the Instant Pot for the chicken for this. I just seasoned it with a bunch of seasonings, stuck it in there for 36 minutes. Mine is not frozen, so if you're doing frozen, you might need upwards of an hour, and I let that naturally for like 15 more minutes. You can also boil your chicken or whatever other method you'd like, just to get some chicken, and of course you could also do beef or anything like that for your enchiladas. When I'm using canned enchilada sauce like this, and I like the Las Palmas one, I do like to add it to a pan. I did move the burner there because I decided I wanted a different burner for it. But I let that just simmer, and I keep stirring it, and I reduce it down till it becomes thicker. I just do not like the consistency of a can and how thin it is, so this really helps give that little bit of a more authentic feeling to that. And I just diced up some a red onion that is about 1 small onion's worth, and then I'm taking 2 cans of Rotel. The recipe for this calls for a 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes. I had Rotel, which is like 10 ounces, so I used just 2 of them. And you're going to go ahead and drain that liquid, and then whatever amount you get from that, you're going to add water to the rest of it to equal 2 cups. I added that to a pot, and then I added in 1 cup of rinsed and drained white rice. I let that come to a boil, and I put the lid on. You were supposed to season it with some garlic powder, onion powder. I forgot, and I added it later on, as you'll see. And I'm just going to go ahead and let that cook for about 20 to 25 minutes. And then to a separate pot, I'm going to go ahead and add in the 1 small onion that we chopped. I think it called for a white onion. I only had red. And I'm adding about 2 cloves worth of minced garlic to that, and the reserved Rotel that we kept from the one we drained earlier. We're just going to go ahead and add that in. And as you see, I'm seasoning it here instead of before with when the rice was cooking, and that is just because I forgot. I will note that I didn't care for the chili powder in this, and maybe it's because I used Rotel. If you were using actual just regular diced tomatoes, that spice might be good, but it was just a little bit overbearing with what I use. I would prefer to use Rotel in the future and keep away from the chili powder. And I added in a can of black beans, let those all warm up, and then I'm going to go ahead and add my cooked rice right into that pot with all of that, and just go ahead and give it all a good stir. For those enchiladas, I'm just taking some of that sauce and putting it on the bottom of a 9x13 baking dish. I won't show you too much of this. I'm sure you've probably even seen me make enchiladas before, but I do like to show extra tips like how I reduce the sauce. It's been a while, and I'm using these Trader Joe's corn tortillas, And I made my little workstation, grated some cheese of choice. I used extra sharp cheddar, and I kind of dipped my tortilla. I warmed them first in the microwave so they can be a little bit more pliable. And I'm dipping that into the sauce, and then I'm just going to go ahead and fill them with my chicken and my cheese and roll them up, and then just place them in the bottom of my baking dish and just go ahead and repeat that whole process. And I'm going to go ahead and just cover that with the remaining sauce here. Yeah, nothing really fancy, just kind of spooning it over. It is thicker, so I can't just like pour it as easily. And then I'm just going to go ahead and top that with some of the remaining cheese that I grated, just whatever amounts you like. And that's that. I'm going to go ahead and bake that at 350 degrees for about 25 minutes. Mexican food is just one of my favorite dishes, and I absolutely love enchiladas. These were good with the chicken, but I would definitely love just cheese enchiladas. That is one of my favorites. And of course I topped them with some sour cream and had that rice, and again, just that rice was a little bit spicy for my liking, so I would keep the chili powder out next time when using rotel. Really like the flavor of the rotel though. This next meal is an Italian chicken casserole. The recipe calls for 1 pound of cubed chicken breast. I'm just cooking a large chicken breast up here, seasoning it with some salt and pepper, as well as some garlic powder, onion powder, some garlic and herb seasoning, and some Italian seasoning. And I'm cooking that about 5 to 6 minutes on each side because I have a large chicken breast here, and I'm just cooking that in a little bit of oil. You could use rotisserie chicken to make this easier, or any other pre-cooked chicken, and I think I would be trying a rotisserie next time. And then you're going to need some mushrooms, 8 ounces of sliced mushrooms. I have whole mushrooms because I wanted the baby bellas and my store only had them whole. So I'm choosing to just go ahead and slice those all up. And I do cut the ends of my caps a little bit, or the stems a little bit. I just prefer that. You don't have to. It's your personal preference. Just go ahead and I need about 8 ounces of those. And then I'm using these red roasted bell peppers. The recipe said you could sub those for sun-dried tomatoes, or sun-dried tomatoes is what's in the recipe, but I wanted to give these red peppers a try. I love red peppers. I've had these before and I thought they sounded really good in this, so I'm just dicing those up because they come in bigger chunks. You'll need about a half cup worth. And then I'm adding some oil to the bottom of my skillet, and I'm going to go ahead and add those mushrooms in and cook them for about 5 minutes or so, and they're going to begin to brown and soften. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in garlic. It calls for 4 cloves of garlic. I'm using this squeeze bottle, just using what I think would be good. And then I'm going to add in those roasted pepper pieces and let that cook for an additional 2 minutes or so. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and I'm going to go ahead and stir that all together to coat the mushrooms and my roasted red peppers. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in 1 cup of chicken broth and 1 cup of heavy cream. And you're also going to need 2 cups of milk. I'm using that milk to kind of get some of the more of that heavy cream out of the measuring cup there. And I'm just going to go ahead and whisk that all together quickly and till I combine all those ingredients. And then I'm going to season that with about 1.5 teaspoons of pink Himalayan salt and 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and just whisk that in. If you don't like things on the saltier side, cut that down to about 1 teaspoon's worth, because the Parmesan will be adding some more saltiness to this dish later. And in the meantime, I'm cooking up that whole 16 ounces of linguine, and I let this sauce simmer for about 10 minutes to get it to thicken, and then I added in the fresh spinach, and I'm adding in the whole bag. Although this recipe calls for 5 ounces, my bag's about 8 or 9 ounces, and I use the whole thing because we love spinach, and I definitely recommend that. I believe it really added extra veggies and there was nothing wrong with that. And then I'm adding in that about 1/2 cup or so of Parmesan cheese, not really measuring, just had some bagged Parmesan cheese that I needed to use up, and I'm just going to go ahead and stir that all together. And now I'm just going to go ahead and pour that sauce over my 1 pound of cooked and drained linguine pasta. And I'm just going to go ahead and then add in the cooked up chicken that I went ahead and cut up. And I'm just going to be using my tongs here to toss that all together. You want to make sure to get your chicken nice and combined with all of that. Get your pasta nice and coated with all of that sauce. And then we're going to take a prepared 9x13 baking dish that I sprayed with some cooking spray or oil there, and just pour all of that pasta mixture inside. I'm using my tongs to just kind of even that out and move some of those like ingredients. I don't want all the spinach in one area or all the like smaller bits like that in one area, so I'm kind of just spreading them out a bit. And then I'm just covering that with some cheese. I believe the recipe calls for 2 cups of mozzarella cheese. I just kind of eyed it and put as much as I thought would cover the top of a casserole. And like always, I always cover my cheese in a casserole like this with some dried parsley. I just love the way it looks, and it looks really beautiful when coming out of the oven. And I went ahead and baked this covered. I sprayed some cooking oil on the foil there. That's going to help your cheese from sticking to it. So I covered that up and I baked that for 25 minutes at 350 degrees. And here it is out of the oven. I may have turned the broiler on for just a minute there to brown the top of that cheese. I served this with a side salad, just a garden salad, and some garlic bread. And let me tell you, we loved this meal. It was so, so delicious. We love good pasta dish, but wow, the flavor in this was amazing. Definitely recommend it with those red peppers. This last meal is fried chicken Alfredo quesadillas. I'm going to start off by making some very easy Alfredo sauce. And to my pan, I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of butter along with about 8 cloves of garlic. The recipe that I'll link is going to call for 4. I like more garlic in mine, so about 8. I'm letting that go ahead and meld together, like the butter and the garlic's going to infuse, and it's going to sit for about 5 minutes on low heat. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in 1 cup of heavy cream. I'm stirring that in slowly, and this is also because I didn't let my heavy cream come to room temperature, which I normally do. And so slowly will make it a little bit better to not curdle too much. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in 1.5 cups of Parmesan cheese. And I'm not using a fresh kind. That would have been way better. I have these bagged kind, and so it's going to take me a little bit more work to get that to melt. But that's fine, just a few extra minutes. So I'm also adding in 1/2 cup of heavy cream to this and the additional 1/2 cup. So that's going to help us now thin this out a bit. And if you need some additional heavy cream, go ahead and do that to your preference on how thick you want this. And I did sprinkle some pepper in there, which the recipe does not call for. And now I'm taking that fried chicken. I just got this from the deli at my local grocery store at like Albertsons, and their chicken's really good. So yeah, I'm just taking 2 of the breasts here, and I'm removing the meat and the skin, all that nice crunchy skin. You want that fried chicken skin going on here. That's the whole point of all this, and let me tell you, it does not disappoint. So just go ahead and chop that up to small pieces, and then I'm taking a little bit of butter here, spreading that on the bottom of my pan over like medium high heat. Just taking these tortillas that are flour. They're just like your typical size. You could do bigger, but this was perfect for us. Then I'm taking just some cheeses that I already had open, some mozzarella, and then some of this Mexican style, like quesadilla style cheese. Use whatever cheeses you like or have. It all will work out fine. And I'm just putting a layer of that on the bottom. And then I'm going to go ahead and spoon some of that Alfredo sauce on top. This, again, is just a preference. I kind of wanted a lot. It sounded really, really good. And then I'm taking a handful of that chicken, or just as much as you want there, and I'm putting it on 1/2 only because I am going to be like folding this in half and pressing it down. I just use 2 spatulas. That really makes it easier, and I can kind of push some of those ingredients in if they fall out. And I just kind of eyed it to my liking on how browned I wanted that, and it will vary, of course, on your stove, your pan, all of that, so just keep an eye on it. And I'm going to be serving this with some of this broccoli here, and I put some of that Alfredo over the broccoli. This whole meal was so, so good. The quesadilla had so much flavor with all that cheese and Alfredo and the fried chicken. Oh wow, it was amazing. Of course, you could do it with a different type of chicken, but that fried chicken took this to a next level, and I absolutely loved Alfredo on my broccoli. I don't think I've had it like actually just on top as like just to eat it that way without it being like broccoli Alfredo pasta or something like that. It was very delicious, and we absolutely loved it. Thank you so much for watching, friends. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that little bell so you don't miss out on any future What's for Dinner videos. And I hope you all are having an amazing week.